Hey there, Tony with Culinary Seasons, and I'm here in Phoenix, Oregon with Melodie Picard.
Picard, like the captain.
And this is part of our Exploring the Source interview series where we meet people behind the scenes. And Melodie is a cheesemonger from France.
Yep.
And I met her a while back here through Southern Oregon Sourdough, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
the bread led you here.
The bread led me here, yes, and we got connected.
Yes.
Melodie, how did you come to the United States?
Oh, well, I came in 1999 in San Francisco, and because when I was 12 years old, I decided I was going to be a Hollywood actress. And so, after high school, I enrolled for the au pair program.
Okay.
So I was a living dandy in San Francisco.
Very cool.
And eventually made my way to Hollywood. And then I discovered a calling in wine and cheese.
Well, and you made your way up here to Oregon, Southern Oregon.
Yeah, no, we were in Los Angeles with my husband, expecting our firstborn. And I had started working in cheese at a local co-op. And kind of, discovered that calling where I'm like, oh, I can get paid for my accent. And
well, plus you have the French background to say,
exactly,
hey, I know
that too. It does tell a lot of cheese. Instant credit right here.
There you go.
And then so we wanted to move away from the big city. Yeah. And a friend had moved to Ashland. We saw it, and my husband says, oh, there's a wine country.
Yeah, this area, for those who aren't familiar with Southern Oregon, has become a very wine-focused valley. And if you haven't been here and haven't experienced it, definitely come and take a look. And while you're in the valley, come check out Melodie's Oregon Cheese Cave.
Exactly. So I actually did start in the wine industry. And so I got to know the valley that way. And then after my second born, I went back to cheese, but then I needed to do cheese my way.
Yeah.
And there's limited opportunities. So I ended up just going for it and having my own shop and doing cheese my way.
Yeah.
And bringing it to the people.
Yeah, and you started out, you had a smaller shop down the street here for a few years, right?
4
years, yeah.
And that was great because it was just small. And so it, I couldn't fit so much in it. So budget, stayed pretty, approachable. And but it is so centrally located. Yeah. So it's very accessible to Ashland and Central Point and Jacksonville and the 5. And so it kind of did its slow story there. But then, of course, impacted by the pandemic that changed a lot of things, and then 6 months later, the massive fires that
rolled through, yeah.
And so those were challenges, but then rebuilding after that, shop survived, and I just wanted to offer more.
Yeah. So then when did you move into this location?
And October 2022. So exactly like 4 years after I opened, but down the sidewalk.
Yeah, not very far, just right down the sidewalk.
Exactly.
You've got a great location right on the corner.
Yeah.
And I love the
look,
the look in here, and it goes right with what you're doing.
Well, yes, and also where I come from. Yeah. It's the aesthetics of Normandie in France, northern France, with like those white houses with the beams and all of that. That's actually very Normand, and that's things I grew up with.
Yeah, so that's obviously part of what attracted you.
Oh, yeah. So it goes with the whole like artisanal and European and cute.
Definitely.
I actually took this picture myself last time I was home. This is the village of Camembert, and this is one of the original creameries that have been around for hundreds of years.
Wow.
And that's the window when you land at the end of the tour in an old house that very much looks like this.
Wow.
With the whole history of the cheese Camembert.
Yeah.
And so that's the Normandie is a big region in northern France that's very much about dairy. Mm-hmm. So cheese and milk and butter. And we're one of the few regions in France that doesn't have wine. We have cider, very foodie.
Yeah.
Very foodie. And so that's, a nice attraction there. People kind of know it from World War II and D-Day.
Sure,
and, my hometown is a port that was heavily occupied and destroyed.
Wow.
And so, growing up with those stories, and my grandfather, who, was 13 years old when the war ended and was welcoming of the American GIs who were there and rebuilding France in my hometown.
Yeah.
And they were trading fresh fruits for cigarettes and gum chewing gum.
That was a big thing.
So American. And he grew up with this fascination for American culture.
Let's talk about cheese.
Let's talk about cheese, baby. Let's talk about blue and green.
Let's talk about what you have in the case right now.
And for January, it's always with the cold and the weather, and it's the melting cheese season.
Sure. Yeah.
So my cheese club this month, I'm offering the fondue trio that I like to have people discover more than just a basic pouch.
Yeah.
So I have those there. I go with a Gruyère au Comté stout cheese. So I have really lovely one called Letibaz from Switzerland. Then the famous Appenzeller. So it kind of tastes more like Emmental with a little bit firmer texture.
Sure.
And then raclette. I always like to include raclette because it's such a great melting cheese.
Great melting cheese, definitely.
And and this one is made raw milk, very traditional, very fresh, by a French cheesemaker in Wisconsin.
Oh wow! Wow.
So I get to have real cheeses. And then this holiday season and winter season, I've been making people discover vacherin. So yeah, vacherin, so it will look kind of like a camembert. So it's got the bloom on it, and it's wrapped in spruce. And it's a style of cheese from the mountains. And so it's all ready to go. You just take the plastic off. You can score the cheese a little bit, put some seasoning, some salt, pepper, paprika, and a little bit of wine. And you put it in the oven. It's ready to go in the box.
Oh, the box goes in the oven?
The box goes in the oven.
Okay.
And then it's kind of like a brie fondue.
Okay.
So you just scoop it out.
Very
Deliciousness.
Nice. Very nice.
And so yeah. And people have been asking me about the famous version of it. It's called Mont d'Or. It's very limited release. It's a little bit more delicate, but it's made of raw milk, so that means that being so young, it's not available in this country.
Yeah. So here we are in the actual cheese cave.
Yes.
Melodie has here in the Oregon Cheese Cave. So tell us about what you got. Where do you bring it from? I know we all know Road Creamery here in the Valley.
Yes.
Very famous cheese, and I know you carry some of their products.
Yes. Yep. This is not a traditional cheese cave.
Sure.
A cheese cave is a giant cooler where you get to age cheese in. But yeah, so I just kind of make it cool, fun, and so you can see the beams. So this is painted on beams, and they are inspired from a photo I took in my mom's village of the side of a building.
Nice.
So local artists took the photo and then just took it the wall. So, and my previous shop was so small that I needed to be creative with refrigeration and budget. So that's how I ended up with those little guys. And then they look so much like, phone booths.
Yeah, they all look very unique in their own way.
So yeah, so I just, I have like sheep and goat. That's something I need to offer because sadly, a lot of American people can't digest dairy, especially cow dairy. And they don't always know about sheep and goat. So that's nice to offer.
Plus, the sheep and goat bring a different complexity and
They do.
flavor profile that
Absolutely.
a lot of people don't haven't experienced or don't know.
Some local cheddars from the Road Creamery in Face Rock. Some other cheeses from other places. I finally put the blue cheese in the blue case. Make it more. Always have some Roquefort. Roquefort is the queen of all blue cheese. The OG.
Yep.
And then this ended up being the French one. It's just brie and camembert, where I'm from. And then the double cream, the triple creams and sticky cheeses. So this tends to be French. And
you also bring in butter from France.
And I do carry a French butter that's very popular. Right now I have the next best one because this one has been out. But yeah, it's super salted. So it's intense butter. It's real butter. It's not diluted. It's plenty yellow. And it's got massive chunks of salt in it. With this bigger shop, I've been able to have access to more special orders and pre-orders for other places. And I get to carry cheeses from Indiana, from Missouri, from Maryland, from other states, North Carolina. Like, you're like, oh, they make cheese. I'm like, oh yeah, everybody makes cheese. You just don't know. And then there's been more because there's also been a trend people rediscovering that or discovering the artisanalness of things.
Being in a beautiful wine valley, I do a lot of pairings. So I do a monthly pairing in the shop, and then I have gone other places to organize other pairings with, specific wineries, breweries, cideries, meaderies, all of that. And so now with the bigger shop, I was trying to also have a little bigger of a, wine and beer selection of a few local things, but also things to go with the cheeses, from different countries. And that's the cider from Normandie. And the red wine. I always have to have a Pinot Noir from the Willamette Valley because, I do have some people that are, some tourism. Gotta have something for everyone. Yeah. So different styles of cheeses first. And then some drinks. And, but then I, help people compose platters and boards. And then I make custom platters as well. So gotta have all the accompaniments. And so that's why I carry a lot of local accompaniments, the jams and the salts and hot sauce, because, I'm very connected with the community, and then the more I can carry, the better. And then make beautiful, original, custom cheese platters. Yeah. For me, it's easier to use the term platter to make sure people understand the format, because a board is very cool and fun, but it's not very transportable. So for me to put it together here and then be transported somewhere, it just falls apart really quickly.
Sure. On a board specific.
Exactly. Yeah. So I like language, and I like to be specific. Yeah. I think we all do at some point. Sure. I mean, if I was to order a salad and call it a hot dog, people think I'm crazy. And so that's my pet peeve with the word charcuterie. Being French, that's a French word. It's a very current, very practical, French word. It's the second half of the butcher shop when the butcher cuts the meat and the charcutier cures it. And the word itself means flesh cooked or cured, literally. Yep. So it's a, cute little French word, but it has a really specific meaning.
It does.
And it's only been trendy since 2020. That everybody sat on Instagram and they're like, oh, charcuterie boards. And I'm like, well, sure, but it does have a meaning. And it's nice to, respect other languages and cultures. Definitely. And try to use the word properly. I mean, I don't mind if you misspell it or mispronounce it. I mean, I've been here 25 years. I still have an accent. But it's, you have to use it. I'm like, you want a charcuterie board? I'm like, well, what kind of cured meat do you want? That's my first question, because for me, I make cheese platters because it's focused around cheese and it's on the platter. If you want charcuterie, I can add that. Yeah. And then all the accompaniments to go with it. Yeah. And so olives and nuts and dried fruits and jams and crackers and
a lot of that's local.
A lot of that is local. Yeah. And then being custom, also, if you can't do gluten, that's one of my questions. I have gluten-free options. Yeah. So I have a cheese club.
Okay.
It's my newsletter. Yep. So people sign up, they give me their email address, and I add them up, and then I have a monthly to bi-monthly email I send out, and so people have dibs on my pairing classes. And my events and my news, and they can request things and all that. And then in the second half of the month, I offer a cheese club, so a specialty trio of cheese that I ordered specially for the occasion, and then they have like limited quantities. So people just reply and let me know if they want one.
So they get first dibs on the cheeses too.
Yeah, nice. And I feel like I've been trying to have very approachable prices compared to my competition. So so I don't have necessarily discounts, but I have good pricing consistently year round all the time.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Your pricing is very competitive and even better on some of the things I've bought than local markets.
Yes.
So kudos to you for being out there and keeping tabs on what everybody else is doing too.
Because I want people to be able to treat themselves and not completely break the bank. I mean, we're all on a budget these days for sure. and then I cut things a little fresher, and I wrap them in cheese paper. So that's what I offer. I mean, a better quality product than something that has been cut a long time ago and wrapped in plastic under the lights.
Yeah.
I mean, working in grocery stores, I know how faded cheese gets when it's, wrapped up that way. Sadly, they have to do it that way legally.
Yeah.
So they don't have a whole lot of choice in that matter. But I do. So.
But I've come in and you cutting a cheese fresh right there off a wheel, or you just got it in and you're saying, here, try this. It's amazing, and it is amazing, and I bought it. So I know many people have, and I really props to you. You're doing a great thing here.
Yeah, because I'm there for the people, but I'm also there for the cheese.